Very much, Sunshine. So I would like to share the screen. Okay, it may take a little bit long because I forgot to open the file. Yep. Can you guys see the screen now?
Yes,
Yep.
It's visible. Cool.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Let's start our discussion. The topic that we would like to discuss is actually, as you can see on the screen, sex outside marriage prohibition in Indonesia. Is it beyond moral panic? So I'm here as the moderator. So it's more like I'm going to, I don't know, lead the discussion, but it's expected that you guys actually are the one who are active in discussing. So let's move to the next slide, which is like, we would like to give you the background of the discussion itself. As we know that recently Indonesia passed a new criminal code banning sex outside marriage. This has become a really controversial among societies. This law actually stipulates that people who have sex outside marriage, whether they are married or single, can be jailed. Moreover, people who live together as partner outside marriage can also be jailed. As the matter of fact, this offense, or this delik, we call it in Indonesia, the offense is actually more into like absolute complaint. What it means, it's either from, it's based on the complaint from the either one of the sexual partners or children or parent of one of the sexual partners. And none of them mentioned and cannot file the complaint. So this is a news from the New York Times, which is like, it's actually become like a very discussed topic as well from the international media like New York Times, Reuters, The Guardians, things like that. So yeah, this is the background of the topic that we would like to discuss. Now we move to the first topic, which is like, I would like to know your perspective about this this law. Do you agree with the new law, or should the law regulate? Should the law regular personal affairs? And we would like to start the discussion. Any one of you want to convey your opinion? Sunshine, would like to say something about this questions?
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Okay, this is a very intriguing because I believe that there are two types of governance or government. The first would be a huge government, and another one would be small government. A huge or big government believe that people or citizens are not consent. So they do not have rational to think about something that would benefit them the most. And that's why the infiltration, the interventions given by the government is so much compulsory, because the government can see the best, what can lead or what can increase the welfare of their citizens. Based on this, I can say that probably it is okay. I like to answer it first. I completely agree with this law because I believe that there is very strong reasons on that. One of them would be about the proliferations of FWB. Okay, I believe that friends with benefits, especially through the medium of Twitter, this social media strongly and noticeably exploit the users, which are dominantly still confusing about the true personality that they need to embed within themselves. Okay, I believe that to bring a deterrence effect, as well as reducing the enthusiasms to be involved in this seems fun, but actually devastating their characters. The governments need to make some enactments of policies when it comes to this. And personal affairs, I believe, yeah, as I told you before, because knowing that the segmented population that will be regulated, mostly teenagers, they do not have the ability to fully utilize their minds or their rational, because when you're interested in having sex, you probably couldn't think clearly, right? Again, that's why some people, government need to knock something okay into their minds, that this one can be so dangerous, not only toward your career future, but also your health and your social impacts later on. Okay, that's for me. If anyone disagree with me, please do so. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sunshine, for your opinion. So I think Salma also raised her hand. Would you like to say something, please?
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. And I think the first ever, I want to say that yeah, I couldn't agree more with you. What exactly? What's your name? Sunshine? Is that how do I call you? Yes, I totally agree with your opinion and ideas. Um, well, I believe that each country uphold different values, which is not comparable to others, obviously, despite any of things or any of law policy that each country may, it is obviously has been thought and has been uh, considered for a very long time, right? And it is clear to see that both Indonesia and Indonesian through Pancasila has been preserved very high society morals, which is obviously will be hard to change because it has been preserved since a very long time ago, even before our independent. And yeah, when we talk about sex or something that intimate activities between couples or people, it will obviously it will be a long discussion about that. But I would like to, I would like to point out like two things or two mind a reason why I agree with this policy that Indonesia or our country made. The first one is that it will be very, I think there will be a lot of negative perks, first of all. Yeah. And first thing is obviously for the children upbringing, I mean, like the upbringing that children will own later in their future about their characteristic and about their needs, it will be very complicated. That what their parents do, but it will later affect more on the children. So I think, let's say in Indonesia and some country like Malaysia, maybe like and Brunei, everyone that want to get married, they need their father's name and they have to put like their father's name in the administration stuff and things. So it is very important for children to know exactly who are the parent, their mother and father, obviously. That's the first thing. And we're not gonna let children question later about who is my parent, right? So yeah, the best is to find just like one partner and just keep it a long way till the death of both of you. Then the second is obviously health issue, although many people are concerned enough and have a fully aware about contraception. I'm sorry, but contraception and the danger or the negative side of this activity, intimate activity. But however, you will find a moment or many more people are careless regardless to this matter. It could just cause HIV, AIDS, and many more. So I think it would be better if we avoid that. And there are so many things that we can do to know our partners or our partners to be. There's still so many ways to do things. Yeah, that's all for me. Thank you.
Hello, Yunhee, are you there?
At his wrist.
I think he puts that phrase over there.
Yeah. Okay. While he was absent, I believe that I need to
Take over the stage.
to take over. Okay. Wait a moment. Yunhee, please. I summon you. Okay. Let's give a few seconds for him.
I'm sorry, I think I'm lost.
Yeah. Okay. Your presentation as well. Okay.
I think I'm having trouble with the connection. Would you like to share the PPT just in case?
Okay. Wait a moment. Oh, when the discussion getting more captivating. Okay, wait a moment. Okay. This one, right? Okay. Okay, you may take the lead. You may lead. Yunhee.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry for the inconvenience. I got lost for a while because the connection, I think. But yeah, let's continue the discussion. Okay, now Azifa is raising her hand. Aska, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. Okay, I just give a brief comment. Probably like responding to Sunshine and Salma is probably a little bit different argument, but from what I can see from these questions, like whether we agree with the new law to regulate the personal affairs. So when I'm thinking about regulations, it's basically like the government try to, like, is a government intervention like towards an issue or something that the government want to achieve, right? And regulation is one way of policy, but actually there's a lot of other alternative of policy, such as like education or nudge. Like, I mean, many countries have been using nudge as well as policy. And when we are talking about personal affairs, and as Sunshine and Salma mentioned a lot, like the regulation itself try to what is it, like limit the or restrict the like the behavior, like certain behavior that the government doesn't want to happen, for example, like between the citizens. And I think to jump into conclusion to regulate the personal affairs is just like a shortcut. I think it's like pretty lazy move. Instead of going, for example, we still have a large gap related to education in sex, in productivity, and something like that. But then when the government choose to regulate it, I think it's just like a pretty lazy movement. And because there's like because even until now, when we are talking about sex, it's still very taboo, and to have that conversation is actually good. Again, when we are talking about like making this regulation happen and roll out, what is the purpose, what is the aims? So is it like the government to evaluate again whether is it the right policy to choose to regulate, to say no, instead of, for example, increase the knowledge first? Do we have done enough with other alternative? Because if not, then at the end, okay, we can say no. But then if all other alternatives are like haven't done so well, I think it's not. I mean, we should fix that first before going to the command and control regulation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Aska. I would like to invite the other participants. I think there is Saima here. This is one of my friend. Saima, would you like to say something?
Well, thank you. How about let me hear all other people first. Maybe I would share my ideas or my thoughts maybe later. So yeah.
I see. That's okay. What about the other members? Would you like to convey your opinion? Maybe someone who is contra with the law. I think it's going to be good to see both sides of the arguments.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt, but can I just try to add a little bit more arguments related to what the previous commentators?
Yeah, yes, sure, Salma.
Okay,
Please go ahead.
so yeah, so I think I remember very well the last statement about the sex education itself. Is it so? What should we do first? The regulation, this prohibition regulation of sex sex outside marriage, or the education of sex itself. Yeah, actually our country is a lack of both. Lack of sex education and lack of like people awareness of sex, doing sex outside the marriage. So I think both have to come within at the same time. Like what I've mentioned before, it is one of the way, only like 1 over millions or maybe like bazillion way for us to avoid unwanted things that might happen later in the future. But yeah, we cannot prevent it since many cases already happen. And I think it will be more wise for the government and then teacher, parents to educate and acquire their people, their students and their children about sex and about how to value yourself and how to prepare yourself about this. All people have to know the like not only creating problem but also the solution. So children, kids, and teenager, everyone should know, okay, you can make kids, but if you have kids in these teen ages, this is what will you got, and this is what will you have to overcome later. And yeah, after that, they will have, I think they will have a bigger responsibility on making decision about this. Yeah, I think that's my answer towards the question, but I think all member or participant here must have their own opinions. I would love to hear that, obviously. Thank you.
Thank you, Salma. I think Magilo also raised his hand just now. Magilo, would you like to say something? What do you think when people say that this law, when it comes to regulating something personal, which is like personal affair like sex, which is like it's really, really personal, some people will say that, oh, it's again human right, you see, for example. So any thought about that?
Good evening, everyone. I think I apologize because I just entered this discussion because I saw the link. So I think it is just right to enter because I want to join the discussion, and I'm interested in knowing the sentiments, particularly the locals, because I'm from the Philippines, by the way, for the benefit of everyone. And the difference between Philippines and Indonesia, I think we are more secular. I think the Panchasila ideology in the constitution is also secular, but more of a theist. It's kind of theist, secular, in the sense that despite there's a separation between the church and the state, the five major religions are still acknowledged and recognized in the very soul of the constitution. So basically, I don't know, because I'm still, to be honest, I'm still not quite familiar with the history of the criminal code of Indonesia, in the sense that as far as I read, the old criminal code was still established during the Dutch colonial period, and this is the first time that it was reformed. So imagine that for several centuries it was not touched. It was neither touched or reformed by the government since the Sukarno era to Jokowi period. But I'm just I'm just really quite how do you call that, intrigued why the Dutch colonial penal code is not that too harsh, but this is more too harsh. Like, if we are really into the anti-colonial rhetoric, why not abolish the criminal code itself and establish a much relevant, and maybe probably a much relevant, or a much in time criminal code. What is happening here is that just to abide with the anti-colonial rhetoric, we will just reform the criminal code. Maybe I'm just opening the discourse here because we are focusing too much on the sex outside marriage issue, but we are not really defining what is the sex outside marriage provision, scope and limitation. Because if we are talking about extramarital sex, so example, I have a wife, and I will have sex outside marriage to a third party, and I think that's kind of fair for me. But if we're going to define sex outside marriage, that even those who are not yet married, and you will prohibit them to have sex, I think that will breed a new different type of discourse. Because probably, well, I think we cannot really dictate dictate the private lives of people, especially what are the parameters on how can we know that they are really doing this matter. Like, are they going to put CCTVs in every hotels in Jakarta or in the entire Indonesia? So I think we must really tackle the execution of the law itself. Because probably, why now we have now trust in institutions, but before the reform of the penal code, we describe institutions here in our country as corrupt, as not really just, not providing enough justice. But why is it now that we have this new reform, we are now putting trust in the institutions that they will perform really well in executing these laws? So probably it's a matter of question mark. I don't have a final say regarding this newly reformed law, because well, I think I don't really know. I just really want to join this discussion because I'm really interested in knowing the psyche of the general consensus of Indonesians. But probably because I'm kind of liberal in a sense. I'm not shy in I'm not shy in speaking of this in this matter. But I think it's really that harsh for the current 21st century setup to put up these laws, especially that I don't really trust the state institutions, because probably if we are going to push this law, are the rich people included here? Because we all know that the weight of the laws between the rich and the poor in developing countries are not really at par with one another. So despite if we will execute this law, the elites will still continue having private orgy or private sex in their private villas, in their homes. But the main victims here will be the poor people. Probably that will be my main assumption, because, well, if even in all cases, not only about sex outside marriage, but probably about robbery, about theft. We are so angry about poor people getting bread at Alphamart. If they will rob if they will rob a bread in Alphamart, but the intense corruption that is happening in the parliament, in the state institutions, we are not really angry. We just allow it to pass. So I think that's I want to extend the discourse outside the topic itself, but on the system itself. Thank you.
Mhm. Thank you very much, Magilo. It's nice to hear a perspective from an outsider. You're from the Philippines, and you really give insightful explanation as to how this law in Indonesia is currently being discussed. So I think, is there anyone who would like to respond to the first question? Ekalita, I think you're raising your hand.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
I think it's
please
a
go
long,
ahead.
okay, it's a long discussion, but I agree with the government basically because I think as a Muslim, I have to respect the religion boundaries because I was growth with the religion boundaries, so I cannot put aside the religion boundaries of my life, of course, because my parent, my environment, and also myself is choose the religion boundaries for the comfort of my soul because I believe that my heaven is because I was obeyed to the religions. But I think the problem is that we didn't understand exactly what is the religion is have arranged for us, mostly for the like introduction and marriage institution. But when I'm young and kids, of course, I didn't understand about this. But when I jump into my marriage, and then I more understand more, and then when I also increased my understanding of my religion, then I was realized that there is something that we miss because uh, what we know that when we get married we have to serve our husband, right? Because it's our obligation. It is true, but it's only if you sure that they are your spouse and your true mate that the problems. But when we didn't know about that, then we think that uh, it will be like you are um, learning about lessons or something in your life that you will go with through that, right? But when you realize that at some point to be a mate, it's not only about the things that what we told or people told or something that outside us, but it's like a harmony or something that I don't know what to describe, but I think it's like if you make something and it is like match something like that, but you cannot know it if you didn't use the right steps, right? When you know people and you didn't comfort about the steady, it's okay because we have introduction. But sometimes introduction is not enough. Mostly if you talking about sex or talking about the match of your perspective or something like more specific like your soul or your heart, or that's need a time, right? But people sometimes they took it to know they're supposed with the outside marriage and it's not right, and it will be have some impact like social and like disease, like something like that. But when we have when I mean when we didn't know at the first, and when we are in the middle, so we thought we can know about this from the books, right? Like a porn or something like that, then to give you the information. But The problem is what you are reading and what is the fact. It's not the same, and only the testimony, so it's not the same also, because I don't know, maybe I think it's because an experience, but then I realized it's because we didn't follow the steps. That's the problems. But of course it's not for me, maybe it's for my kids, or for maybe because I know about this is apa not too long, yeah, because when I am collecting something, I also processing the information, and I also it's like a puzzle, you know, the picture there and there and there, but you haven't connecting it. But yeah, yes, like I said, maybe the problem of our religion speaker, didn't jump into the technical, because they also say about something that's so common, that they only said about the sin and the reward. That's the true, that's right. But the religion is the sent by God to us is to give us the right direction for all of our needs, from eat, from including the sex also. So like I said that, and I think for it is a taboo, like apa, I forgot the name, but she or he said it's taboo. Yes, that's right. That's the problem when we are think it's about the taboo to talk, then people seek the information from the not from the source that we didn't know it's true or not, because we don't have the same experience. That's the problem. Okay. And then so I think before we talking about this, we have to understand about the religion boundaries first. Then we have to know what is the religion meaning about the some steps that they touch to us. Yeah, something that's what I want to say. So of course I agree with the government, because it's for my own sake and for my society's sake, and so for my family's sake and for the social sake, because I know when people do the outside marriage, they didn't happy. It's we have to admit that when they get pregnant, when they get cut from their boyfriend, that right, when they see the boyfriend married another woman, it will be hurting them. But if you follow the steps, the introduction, then you get married, and then you cannot having sex, and then you get divorced, then you find another, it will be more noble. And then when you choose to having sex, you know that you choosing them, it's not because the obligation also, but because maybe something apa ya, kayak connecting both of you, something like that. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. Who's speaking just now? I'm sorry, I forgot the name.
Eka.
Ekalita, yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Ekalita, for your perspective from the religious perspective. And I think Angga is raising his hand, so please, Angga, if you would like to convey your opinion.
Thank you, Yonhe, for your chance given to me. I also have a quick comment on this question. Actually, Magilo has raised a very interesting point. I was triggered by him actually to convey my ideas here. So when we are talking about the laws, first of all, our country is not a religious country. There's also other religions that have been acknowledged by our country. So So it's not right, in my opinion, to force what we believe, especially making this into the laws. But I do respect that if everyone has their own beliefs to do something, it's very respectful. We all can do that, whatever, whenever, wherever we want, of course, in our own community. But my concern is that when it's met, when it's passed into the laws, it's has become a problem, because again, our country is not a religious country. There's other religions, beliefs that have been also acknowledged by our country, right? And then, so when we're talking about the offense, when we're talking about this law, I'm not sure, because no one is harmed by doing sex, right? Especially when it comes to it comes from the concerns between two people. No one was harmed, and it's hard to just like Magula has said as well, to you know to wait to also wait, yeah, sorry, to supervise as well, and many others. So it's hard to criminalize as well, because these laws, just like you mentioned before, it also depends on the reports, right? It
Yes.
depends on the complaints from their partner.
Absolute complaint, yeah.
Yeah, absolute complaint from their children, their partners. Remember, their partners or even their children, they can be influenced, right, by other people, by third party. So they're actually not independent, not that independent, because for example, when there's another person who dislike this kind of person who commits sex outside marriage, they could easily influence his or her wife or their children to criminalize this person committing sex outside marriage, to just simply criminalizing him by doing this, right? Especially when he or she has a problem of other things. So it's very complex issue, in my opinion. So it's not only talking about sex outside marriage. When it comes to reporting, complaining, and many others, like has been written in this law. So yeah, Magil also said that why our criminal code has gone backwards, even worse than the colonial period. Yeah, in my opinion, on the one hand, it is because there's a very strong support from right-wing groups within the government. So it's hard for them to deny this group, because this has become their bigger supporters from the last election. So yeah, it's hard to deny this group. So the government, needs to join or follows what has been influenced by this group. But on the other hand, it's also a big homework from more progressive group to do more campaigns, more educational stuffs, just like what has been said by Aska before. So yeah, it's actually a big power playing in this law. So there's like two main bigger perspectives playing in this law. So it's very complex issue that we need to consider and update. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Angga. A very insightful speech from you. So we would like to still questions that I prepared to talk about impacts of. Yeah, next for the slide. Yeah. what are the impacts of this law? I think we can see it from the social impacts and the religious impacts and tourism impacts. And in detail, I think it's better if we can elaborate more into the three aspects of the impact itself. And the next slide will focus more on the social impact first, and then we'll go to the religious impacts and tourism impacts. The next slide, please. Yeah, social impacts. To lead the questions for the discussion, I think there are three questions here. Maybe marriage. Could this law reduce rate of divorce? Could this law make Indonesian youth more moralized? So it's open to the floor. Is there anyone who would like to answer to these questions? Yeah, Ekalita is raising her hand, so please go ahead.
Like I said, we didn't understand the step of in the religion that teach us like introduction and the marriage. It's marriage that I said, if you didn't want to serve your husband, you should return the dowry half. That's the rule. But what is you understand what mostly when you are young and you didn't recognize it, you didn't have any choice if you get married. That's the what I want to talking about. So if you doing the religion right, of course it will be reduced. Maybe it will disappear of the outside of the marriage, because people can use the marriage institution sesuai tapi as fit as their needs. So I think we have to understand what the meaning of the introduction first, and then what is when you get married. Is it you don't have any choice after you married? It's not right. You have a right to know your spouse first, so you didn't have to jump into the marriage at once. But you have like if in outer married, maybe you name it a steady, you may name it living together. You don't have to do it if your marriage is, if you doing your marriage is like your as fit as your needs, like we eat. When your parent give you the food, and if you didn't like it, you can say to them, no, I didn't want this, I want this. But if you didn't doing something like that, of course that there will be some mess when you help it. That's the first. And the second, we have to be a mature too, because sometimes when we say no and people hurting, that's the another problems, and they will thought that you don't have a fixed mind, you didn't respect your spouse. It's not about that. It's about you find your mate. So you have to be open-minded to both of you. And then when your spouse didn't pick you, you have to be more open, because you follow the direction and the right step. You didn't break their rights. You respect them. You didn't touch them without the noble institution. You also give them right. You also ready to responsible if you both doing that and there is the baby. No one go to the doctor to abortion or to give it to the another people, like adoption, right? But like I said, you have to understand first the steps ya. Ada apa sih artinya prosedur? Maksudnya the langkah-langkahnya itu loh maksudnya. So you have to menjalani satu persatu, one by one gitu. And then that's the second. And the third is when there's something mismatch, you have to be more open, because sometimes people will gossiping you, right? If you didn't when you choose, then there is any consequences. Then when people see you that although you are have doing right, you didn't doing something not good, because it's in the real it's in the regulation of the institution. You didn't make your own rules, not like that. But you just follow the step. When you when you feel that something's wrong, and then you want to fix your decision, yeah, I think you need supporting from the environment too, because like I said, when people why people hesitate to go into the marriage, because they afraid to tie it, right? And you also afraid that they cannot enjoy or comfort with the spouse. But if you didn't doing the option right, yeah, you can make a wrong option, wrong chosen. But when you dealing the process is right, I think there is no you will reduce the mistakes, something like that. Because I think if you go outer marriage, right, and then you didn't want to pick the right option, yeah, maybe it's like when you drink, you took the alcohol, then the juice, maybe something like that. But
Okay.
the problem is just, yeah, okay. And then okay, the third,
Okay, Mbak Kalita, can you make it short?
okay. But I also read that the problem is sometimes the government also, when they are they make some regulation, they didn't prepare for the system and the enforcement. Yeah, like innocent people go to jail. I think it's not prepared, right? The system.
Yeah, I think it's related with what Majelo said. It's the target, the one who are most disadvantaged is actually like the poor, like the regular people, because it can be easy for them to get jailed just because of this, law in relation to the prohibition of sex outside marriage. Yeah, thank you, Mbak Kalita. I think the other participants, Tom, please go ahead.
Hello. Okay, am I audible?
Yes.
Okay.
It's really clear.
Yeah, thank you. Because I'm really curious about this topic, and then that's why I see our Lord coming here, Mr. Sunshine, right? And I know the story behind why this topic is really fascinating to discuss, especially and I believe all of you still waiting the World Cup match kick off, right? And then yeah, just to killing time, let's we discuss about this topic, right? Talking about the sex outside marriage law. Honestly, I didn't see the implementation happen in the field, especially in Bali, as I know, because last week I go there, and it doesn't matter in there, because probably this law will be implemented just for Indonesian. I don't know, because in Indonesian is really restricted about the marriage. But if we're talking about a foreigner, for example, Australian, Russian, Filipino, maybe Turkish, and something like that, in outside of Indonesia, the regulation from the government is not strict. It's not really clear about how they must be getting married, right? You can living together with your partner, with your girlfriend, with your boyfriend, as long as you want. And then after 10 years, probably you decided to marry, it doesn't matter. So probably the regulation is just implemented for Indonesian. And of course, if you come to the Sharia hotel, they will be asking about your ID card, right? If you are not married, and then you in your ID card state you are single, and then you bring the girl, the woman or the girl beside you, and then they will asking, that's your wife or not? If you want to stay in the Sharia hotel, but in the general or public hotel, I don't know how to say, common hotel, right? Common hotel, it doesn't matter. You just bring with your partner, and then you can say, this is my partner, and then I have no married yet, but I will marry maybe next year or something like that. And I think yeah, it doesn't matter, right? So, and I try to see from the another perspective. If the regulation something like, you know, what we call pengalihan, yeah, it's like a rumor that will be show off, and then because another news or another fact will be forbidden to know from the citizen, from or in the country, something like that, like and then or probably the regulation decided to boost tourism. You know, if you bring your girlfriend with you, and you just stay in one room, right? And it's good for the hotel owner if you book for 2 room, right? And then after that you can merge your room. Something like that. That's just my thinking, yeah. And then asking about the question, I think it's not relevant with the law, because divorce or divorce, and then it will be it's really personalized. It's really personal with it's really personal for you. And then more moralized, I don't know. I don't believe it can be make moralized, especially for the younger, right? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tom, for your opinion. I think there's one thing that I would like to highlight because there is like a news from, I think, liputanam.com, which says that because this law, the offense is actually more into like absolute complaint, and those who can complain is actually like either a partner of the sexual intercourse, or either one partner of the sexual intercourse, all the children of the sexual the person who do the sexual intercourse, or the father of the two people who do intercourse. And if the complaint filer, which is like those who complain, is not from this the mentioned, the complaint cannot be considered as something that can be like follow up by the police. And that's why they said that when it comes to foreigners who come into Indonesia, if he do it like sexual intercourse outside marriage, if there is no complaint from either the parents of those people who conduct the sexual intercourse, so there's no there's no follow-up from the police whatsoever. But if the parents, for example, like if there is one foreigner who conduct sexual intercourse outside marriage with a local girl, for example, and then the father of the girl complained to the police and file the absolute complaint and offense, police can follow up that complaint, and that foreigner can be jailed. So things like that. So this is the context of the law. Tom. So yeah, I think we go to Salma. I think Salma is raising her hand.
All right.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. Well, I think I would love to talk just in general because in terms of religion or religious stuff, it is already represented by the through the previous arguments, right? First of all, I think I want to know the second point. Could Islam reduce rate of divorce? I don't think so, since there are so many reasons, or there are so many factors that cause divorce, and sexual outside marriage is one of them. And yeah, but I could go with agreement for the first and the third point, because I think since there's the law that implemented in a country, so it will be clearly, or it will be strictly and straightly must be followed by the citizens, right? And talking about moralized, when we're talking about moralized citizens are those who obey the rules, the policy that is implemented in the country. So yeah, this both point is actually go hand in hand, and I would just say that. I think that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Salma. Next to Salma, I think Abi. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hello.
Hi.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity. My answer for the three question is yes, yes, and yes.
Okay.
Actually, I feel good when our government released the rule, the new rule, even though the rule is not strong, it's not fully strong. But I think Indonesia government one step more advanced, yeah, about moralize. So even though also another country talking about Bali or about our government is so strong with this law, but this is one step more advanced. This is one step good step, because Indonesia is having high level moralized. So we need to show to all of the world, to all world about our moralized. So this good, and this the good beginning. I feel, yeah, personally, and sure, I agree with this law, even though the law is not really strong, because so many what is it? Because in the rule, there's so many exceptions. But I think there's a good rule, the good beginning, I think, and Indonesia showing the moralized country to all of the world. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abi. Okay, but there is one comment from Aska, I think, which is like worth of to read about this. There's one, there reduce of number of sexual intercourse, yes, for the reported cases, but it's logical here. And then for the second question, rate of divorce, yeah, it's too far. It may be only concern of the people, for example, like the wives of the husbands who have probably their spouse is kind of like want to do some affairs outside their marriage. And then for the moralized use, she think that no, I think it's only create like more creative to find shelter for the youth to do that, that kind of thing. So yeah, thank you very much, Aska. Now we go to Magella. Please go ahead.
Hello, just to butt in, probably because I'm into the academe, so I cannot really answer those three questions because I don't have any crystal ball to assume what will happen if this law will be executed. But I just want to open a discussion on the third question because morality is an abstract concept for me. And I think the definition of morality is kind of depends person to person and even culture to culture per se. So I think we just need to justify what is our moral priorities because the debate. I am not saying that we need to close the discussion on sex outside marriage, but why I just have a question, particularly to maybe to some Indonesians, maybe they can answer because when we have a topic about LGBT, when we have a topic about same outside marriage, the discussion will be very long. People are so passionate and to the point that they are willing to debate 24 hours, 7 days a week.
Mm.
But we talk about moral, the environment, sinking. On 2040, there will be no more. No, there will be no more Jakarta. But why are we not making this a point discussion? Is it not a morality-based issue? Is it outside our religious dogma to not care in? Why is it putting a premium on what our neighbors is doing on their private rooms? Rather, future we must talk about artificial.
Seems like we miss him.
Yeah, I think Magalo is missing. Is he still here? I don't think so. Okay, maybe you can move on to
I
the
think
next topic.
sorry.
Magalo, are you
Because
there?
dormitory. Can you hear me speaking?
Yeah, it's a bit on and off. It's not clear.
Yeah, because internet connection is quite slow. Okay, I stopped.
Yeah, it's clear now.
At the environment. So I think we must put a premium on our moral priorities rather than moral-based issues that are closeted by religious dogma. Because this is not about liberal versus conservatives. This is not about those ideologies or those principles, but we should be more focused on thinking what is our future in this society. Like we must talk about what I stated, like artificial intelligence, climate change, environment, because I think those issues are also moral based. Because we are talking about the future of Indonesian youth generation, right? So I think what will happen forward in the next years to come.
Okay. I think we lost him again. Okay, that's fine. We can continue. We can continue to the next topic, I think. Sunshine, would you like to go to the next slide?
Sir, can we talk the discussion by one by one, because it's too difficult if you have to discuss three matters in one discussion, because for one section you have to talking about this from the very detail. Like you give us three questions, right? And you want us to
Yeah.
once. Why you didn't asking but one by one, like the
I'm
divorce?
sorry.
Like
I'm as the host would like to give a reminder for all of you that because we have such very interesting discussions and there are a number of people that want to voice their minds, I believe that not to exceed 3 minutes okay, so that you can only deliver the most essential notions in your perspective. That's the first. And the second one, considering several questions within one slide, you can just sort out which one that really captivates your attention, which questions that you consider the most need to be responded from your perspective, so that it will not distract you, and you can see from other perspectives as well from other people. I think that's my mission. Okay, please again to raise your hand first, and the moderator is the one who lead discussion. Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Horace. I think it's a very good response for Ecolitas questions. Okay, now we move to the religious impact. I think this is one of the some of the respondents participants earlier have been discusses. Could this law stop Indonesian people to commit sex outside marriage? I think this is like the very essential questions when it comes to this law, because the reason why this law is actually there is to one of the aims is actually to reduce those who to stop those people to commit what they call as sex outside marriage. And I think it's really good to see your perspective in this from the religious perspective. Anyone would like to? Ekalita, are you going to talk about this? Because I think you're really concerned on the religious aspect.
Yeah, because I didn't want that misperception of some people that think the religion is want to difficult them. It's not right. It's because we didn't understand the what I have to say, the method or the step or what is this? Because like the introduction, the divorce, the polygamy, the monogamy, there is creates for the human. But when you did, it's like the maybe it's like knife, fork, and hand and spoon. When you didn't know the function, you will say that's useless. So you will eat just with your mouth. Maybe you you take the food into your mouth, jump into your mouth like that. But it's not right. The right is you have a better option. You can use your hand, you can use the fork, you can use the knife, you can use the spoon. But the problem is not the tools. The problem is the perception. When people take the food with the hand and they are in the Western will say it's not polite because we didn't use the hand here. You have to use the spoon. But when you use the mouth, the human didn't use the mouth for the mouth, the food. It's like a dogs or maybe birds. They just only take their mouth, and it's wrong. That's what I want to talk about, because sometimes when we are feel that we are smart, we ignore the religion because we said it's not practical, it's useless, it's not right. The wrong is not the religion but us. We didn't understand what is the meaning of the divorce, what is the meaning the polygamy, why people afraid of divorce. It's not the divorce, but when they are taking the option of the divorce, the parent is not mature. They are rebutan anak itu apa ya? Maksudnya they are the kids is become the victim because the parents didn't take it as a mature option. They didn't perform well like when once someone said that in Philippines there are a law about drugs, but the innocent jails come into the jails. The false is not the law or regulation. The false is in the people that perform the regulation. There is the mistake. Maybe because they are dishonesty from the criminals, right? They are become smarter because they because like I said, they're missing some process, because when the prophet teach us, the first time his teach is not the law, but the honestly first. Then he also teach us about the attitudes first. So he prepared the humanity first, and then he prepared the consistent through the worship, through the exception of the regulation of the religion first, and then he teach us about the consequences. When we jump into the consequences, we didn't burden the obligation only the enforcement law, but also the people, the doers, the victim, the enforcement law, everybody, including here. So it's like some process with the children, with the parent, with the environment. It's the same process. So when you want to understand this, it's only not about the law also, but you have to fix your social life also. You have to fix your family life supporting system, and then your society udah ya tadi, and your schools, and many things that you have to reconsider and discuss clarify ya. So what I want to see, use your your intellectuals to to recognize the proper and the right, it's not become a slogan, yeah, no, because it is right and it is useful for us. And you have to fix the when we use the tools, like when we take a spoon for it, you have to practice, right? That's what we do with the monogamy, polygamy, and the introduction, and the marriage, and the divorce. Because if you cannot take it and you cannot use it, of course it will be ruined, because you cannot use it. It's like when the Western people want to eat with the hands and they cannot. It's not the Indonesian wrong, right? If they eat with the hands, but because the option is not right in the Western. Maybe if we suitable with it, adjustment with this, polygamy maybe will be an option in Arabic in some countries, but in some countries it didn't take as the first choices. Maybe because the society is comfort with the monogamy, but you have to be truth about that, because the problem is when you took the monogamy but you didn't consistent and you didn't consequent, and then that is the outsiders marriage done, because you didn't consequence. It's not about the institution, it's not about the arrangement. It's you have to recognize what is the choices that is fit with you, and you can consequence. If you cannot take the monogamy, don't take it. You have to sit and stand up and say, I'm a polygamy. If you didn't want to with me, okay, we cannot go through and find someone, because we are in 5 million, right? In the earth, in about the countries. If you didn't take, you can fit with this one. There is another choice. It's not Adam and Hawa, not only that. So, and in the fact, if you didn't want to choose your option, you will choose with your own way. Like I said, you eat with your mouth the food. It's so you are lower your position, right? Then the God didn't met us for that, and that's what I was want to say. So we have to add, we have something like that.
Yeah, thank you very much, Ekali. for your insight. Okay, what I can highlight from Mekalita is actually instead of doing sex outside marriage, what she can provide as an alternative is actually to do polygamy from her belief. Okay, I think Mr. Tom, I think you raised your hand. Yeah, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm tired waiting Miss Eka finishing her opinion, but it's okay. Okay, thank you for your opportunity, Mr. Yeonhee from Korea, I think. Thank you. And then talking about religious impact. Oh yeah, of course. It's really depending in with your yeah, it's really depending with your religion, right? If you are a Muslim, of course, you have like boundaries about this one, and this one. And if you are Christian, of course, you have the specific boundary, something like that. But if you're talking about the citizen of the Indonesia citizen, of course, once a government decide about the policy, I think yeah, we need to be considered to follow something like this. Talking about sex outside marriage is, if I have analogy about the food, right? If you are a diabetes, but how to say, pengidap diabetes, yeah, if you have the diabetes in your body, and then you must avoid all foods have sugar, and then you have to more exercise, and then you must doing sport and so on and so on. But you still try to eat the sweet food, right? So that's look like depend on yourself. Talking about law, of course, we can produce million laws for manage the citizen, for manage the business, for manage the even for manage for managing the society. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's depend on the person itself. You will follow the regulation, or you can disobey the regulation. And then last one from my set is sex outside marriage, something like drug, right? One time you try, you cannot stop yourself to enjoying more, something like that. So, but if you have good manage with your body, with your mind, I believe you have power, and then you will decide, and then you will really understand when you will be stopping. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tom. Sunshine. Yeah,
Okay,
please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time given. So I'd like to address again what has been stated by Angga before in regard to the conditions of our country, which is not based on religion, even though they declare in one of the principles of the five principles of Pancasila that we believe in the existence of God, but somehow Indonesia is not a religion-based country. In addition to that, I would like to also state that probably something that become quite problematic and need to be evaluated the most is not about this particular law, but in regard on how the constitutions can provide credibility and also integrity. So, because I believe that the inability of the governments to impose fairness and justice to any level of the citizen becomes problematic at the same time that it was highlighted by Magilo before. Okay, and that's why rather than talking about this prohibition let alone these prohibitions. Something as huge, as massive, as noticeable as corruption still couldn't be prevented how to say holistically by any elements within the government, and especially knowing that the corruptions agency is even how to say is even being significantly saturated in terms of their interventions toward government affairs. Okay, so to respond this, I would like to say that I believe that the committing sex assignment will still be existed because at the same time in the very beginning of how this rule comes to the surface, it totally attract everyone's attentions, and of course it will be discussed just like in this place right now, and everyone will recognize its weaknesses, where it would be not relevant to apply for, like what you stated before, Yon, that it is only in impact when it is reported by one of the people, or the descendants, or the predecessor, I mean, like the parents or the children, right? So I can say that many people will disregard this, and even the matter related to community sexual side marriage will have another names rather than zina to LVB, and it will keep developing and evolving at the same time. And of course, Indonesia, to answer the anxiety of Michael before, I believe that Indonesia not only concerns toward personal issues like this, but also how what matters the most is how they can change somehow from within. Okay, when they could accumulate the distrust and distrust of the people and change into a clean governance that worth trusting, I believe that this personal issue-based law will not something that need to be debated, and it will be totally accepted by people. I think that's from me. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sunshine, for your insight. So I think considering that the time is tick-tocking, we can move to the next slide. It's still on the impact, which is like focusing on the tourism impacts. This is interesting, which is like the government actually guarantees that foreign tourists will be saved from the controversial sex law. This is stated by the Vice Minister of Laws and Human Rights. He said that parents of those tourists need to come to Indonesia to make complaint in order for the tourist itself here to be reported and jailed. And therefore, it's not easy actually to make such a report. It goes back again to what Sunshine has explained, that this is more into like absolute complaint. So if there's no complaint from the mentioned people in like either one of the doer of the sexual intercourse, all children or parents. So there is a possibility for tourists to get arrested if they have sex with locals, as I highlighted earlier, if the parents of the local people that having sexual intercourse with filed report. So yeah, I think this is the impact that we can see from the news. So we will go to the discussion, which is like in the next slide for the question. Can you please go to the next? Yeah. Okay, despite the fact that the government guaranteed that tourists will be safe from this law, do you think it will still attract tourists to go to Indonesia? Open to the floor. Kalita, yes?
First of all, I want to add something here. Although the regulation is berlaku atau valid, but the outside outside sex marriage I think we cannot erase it at all, but we can reduce it. Mostly if we are with our conscious, we are have the choices, the option and consequence. That's the first. And the second, what about the inconsistent people, right? Or what about they didn't choose that, like the tourist said? If they didn't choose that, maybe there are also the mechanism, because in the religion said also, if you didn't want to get married and you want to have sex out of the marriage, there is the consequences. You cannot asking the father, the biological, to having nurturing apa nafkah atau apa ya, to have nafkah apa bahasa Inggris, to have some support from them, material support, and you cannot have heritage from them. That's for sure. And when your daughter won't get married, then the father cannot have the custom. So the religion is arranged, everything is very complete. So it also respect when you didn't want to take the religion to your option, the religion also respect you, but you have to take the consequences. That for sure. If you are taking that and then you said to your your what you call lover, your lover, and you're asking them to responsible for the babies that you deliver, you cannot do it. And you also cannot asking them to admit your child. And you have to respect when your lover having their real marriage with their real spouse, and they abandon your babies. You have to take it as a consequences, and you cannot say that your lover is criminals. Your lover is didn't have any feelings. It's not that, because you didn't want to take the good the protected ways. It's like maybe like tolls and not tolls. You want the regular ways, okay, but you have the consequences also. Don't you take something that you didn't take, but you didn't want to consequences. You are messing up, right? You didn't want to get married, but you want them to responsible. It's not fair, and that is not that isn't there in the religion. Religion never teach you about inconsistency.
Yeah.
They're teaching you about
Eka?
consequence. Okay, about the tourism, I think maybe if the tourist is respected to and the locals also respect it, they can choose the outside their marital. Of course, there is no problem with the. It's not connecting to the law, but it's connecting to them private life itself. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much, Eka. Now we move to the Magilla. I think it's really relevant with Magilla because Magilla is a foreigner in Indonesia. Magilla, please.
Yeah, I'm a foreigner in Indonesia, but I'm studying in an international Islamic school. So
Yeah,
also, I think currently
that's great.
I am more Muslim than Christian, because I was born a Christian, but I am no longer going to the church. I go more to masjid rather than gereja. So I am more Muslim than Christian now. So basically, the only thing that keeps me non-Muslim is because of technicalities. I'm not yet fully converting, but I think my narrative is a more relevant, because culture in this very sense is actually also a thing that is worth debating. Because if we go to North Korea, are you going to respect their culture just because they have a dictatorship and they are preserving that culture? Are we also going to respect that? Or let's say, if minorities from developing countries, if I'm a Filipino and I will go to United States, their culture is in place to really discriminate immigrants. But if that is their culture, I will not totally agree with that, and I will not respect that, because I need to ensure my rights. Even though let's say that I'm an immigrant in the United States or in Europe, I still need to push for my democratic rights, because well, I have dignity. I am a citizen in Filipino citizen in abroad. So I think it is really debatable per se that we need, if we really need to push the argument of respecting culture, we really need to sharpen our arguments, because if we say that just respect our culture, I think it's not really that worthwhile argument for me. If we need to fortify that argument, we need to think more of a more respectable, or let's say of a more sharp argument for us to respect culture, because I'm all in for respecting culture. I respect Indonesia. I love Indonesia more than my country. So I think we need to
Wow.
point out on that matter. But I think if we will talk about tourism, I believe that it will not probably it will affect at some sort, but it is not about. Wait, I'm actually getting distracted by the comments. So I think it will not really affect Indonesia tourism worstly, because well, it is something that I think it's impeccable, or well, Bali, regardless of what issue is in Bali, regardless there is Bali bombing of 2022, tourists still go to Bali regardless of having that phenomenon. So I think it is not a law. It's not really something that's really will affect the tourism industry, because well, there's already a significant image of Indonesia that will not be damaged regardless, because this is not a negative law. If we will say sex outside marriage will be implemented, this is not a bad law. I am just saying that we need to keep the discourse open and not to close it, because it's really a need for us to debate. It's really a need for us to uplift the discussion.
Thank you very much, Magilo. Abi, would you like to say something?
Yeah, thank you.
And please make it short, because the time is approaching.
Okay. I start from the government's tourism Bali peoples that said the rule is counterproductive for the tourism industries in Bali. Okay, but I think this no longer to impact to the tourism Bali, and I want to say that this law created by public initiation, right? And I think I trust the public initiation is a good solution. And second is when the government create the rule from the public initiation, we need to the focus to the rule. Don't asking about the follow or unfollow community, but we need to concern to the law, to regulation, to the checking and monitoring. Yeah, for this question, I think this law will reduce the tourists, but for the short time, no longer time. Now, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Abby. So I think this is a very fruitful discussion. I think we can go to the next slide, which is like a conclusion. Yeah. What can we conclude from our discussion? I think everyone has their own opinion when it comes to the conclusion. So I was thinking like, yeah, Ekalita, would you like to conclude? And please make it short, okay?
Okay, I give the conclusion in the box chat. So I think it's refer to the religion, I didn't want the religion become a black sheep. And we said that God didn't respect our choices. It's not right. But when you have choices, you have to be consequent and don't mix that. Mix it, because if you mix it, you will mess up everything. When people you have to respect the process of the people. Maybe when they're young, they take out our ritual marriage, but when they get mature, they want get stable, and they take the marriage, and you cannot interfere to their private life. You have to be respect, and you have to know that you are nothing for them. You don't have any connecting, although you have kids, although you have memories, you have old times, but it cannot reach your lover in the future. That's the for the point. And the second, for the adoption and the abortion, maybe it will be have another discussion for aurital marriage, because when you take the aurital marital, you might be didn't want the child, and you maybe want to abort them or to give them to the others, and maybe the government have to facilitating it, because it their choices. And when you said will God willing will God will approve this, God is respect your choices. So when you choice didn't want to follow his rules, then there is some arrangement about this. Yeah, maybe you didn't go to the illegal doctors, and you have to doing it with the right institution, and you also have to follow the process. When you losing the baby, when you giving the baby to others, you have to dealing with it with your own consequences and your heart and your feeling, your emotion. You in with your lover when both of you overcome your problems, and you have to respect the process.
Yeah. Yeah.
Conclusion is in chat box.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ekalita. Yeah, we read your conclusion. So I think because the time is now is almost there. So I was thinking like I would, as a moderator, I would like to give like my conclusion over the our discussion. So I'm thinking that when it comes to the law being passed by the government, I think we are still in the process of understanding it. And of course, some people say that they support the law, and some other people say that they disagree with the law. So I was thinking like the controversies are still like ongoing between local people of Indonesia, and we as a society still divided into being agree or disagree with the law. So I was thinking like every people has their own right to say whatever they want to say, because this is here a democratic country. So I was thinking like there is no conclusive remark that we can take, because every people has their own opinion when it comes to this law. So I was thinking like the best conclusion, I think it's all come back to our individual itself. It passed into law, and now it's up to us how to kind of like see the law itself being implemented in the society. So I was thinking like that's the conclusion that we can cover from our discussion. So thank you very much for all the participants who have actively engaged in our discussion, and we really hope that we can see you in other discussion. This is a weekly discussion, and I think Magilo can join again our discussion. This is actually the first time, Magalo, that I joined this discussion. I was invited by our friend here, Sunshine. So yeah, thank you very much and see you in the next time. Sunshine, would you like to say something?
Okay, so everyone, before closing, I'd like to give you some feedbacks regarding almost everything that we have been discussing so far. Okay, wait a moment. Okay, so here it is. Wait. Okay, I hope it's visible. Okay, so yeah, solusi bisa menggunakan overcome ya, mengatasi, overcome, bisa resolve atau counter, memahami itu nggak hanya understand aja, kamu bisa you can use apprehend, comprehend, grasp, ya. Kemudian tadi ada kesulitan ya, we didn't know true or not, kamu bisa langsung bilang credibility gitu ya. Menjalani one by one, step by step, kamu bisa gunakan experience, witness, or see. Pengalihan, you can utilize shift or diversion. Perebutan anak itu child custody divide. Nah, kemudian berlaku itu valid, prevailing, applicable, bisa digunakan juga. Dan untuk meningkatkan kualitas bicara, especially later on in IELTS test especially, hindari menggunakan kata you ya. You itu terlalu judgmental in judging gitu. Jadi kayak kurang sopan untuk menggunakan if you ganti if people, if they gitu. Itu malah lebih sounds objective gitu. Jadi hindari kata you itu karena terlalu ngeblame dan terlalu ngejudge gitu. Padahal kita diskusi yang sehat ya. Oke, mungkin itu aja feedbacknya. Sekarang aku pengen kalian to open your camera so that we can have a photo session, guys. Oke, kau, you, Fatih, oke, Gilo, Vera, Tom, Farid. Okay, well, such very fierce discussion. Okay, okay, then, well. I'm going to count 3, 2, 1. Okay, I'm going to save this first. Okay, one more time. Okay, wait a moment, yeah. Okay, I'm going to count 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, thank you so much for your join and involvement. I would like to see you again. Look forward to our interesting discussion by next week. So see you when I see you, and bye bye. Good night, everyone. See you.